Good day, Magic fans! Today we have a Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms pre-release pack unboxing. So my LGS had a pre-release weekend for Paper Magic. So yeah, so I did drop by, I played around, and it was it's a fun draft experience. Okay, so let's see what we get from our pre-release pack. So what you would get is you will get a pre-release card. So our pre-release card this time around is Oswald Fiddlebender, 1 in a white, 2/2 gnome artificer, legendary creature, and he has the ability of magical thinking. For white and tap, sacrifice an artifact, search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed artifact's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery. So it is sort of like a birthing pod for artifacts. So probably going to be a good addition to your, artificer or artifact decks. I think it might be a good addition to something like the Oswald the Osgear the Reconstructor commander deck. What else you get from your PR kit is your divider. You get 3 tokens, foil tokens per PR kit, and it will contain one of each of the dungeons that you can use for playing the AFR set. So Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which is the longest dungeon, but the last part of it is you get to draw 3 cards and reveal them. You may pay one of them without paying for mana cost. The shortest one is Tomb of Annihilation, and there are a couple of cards, I think, or one, at least one card anyway, that cares about completing Tomb of Annihilation. You can take the short route, which goes through Oubliette, but then that would cause you to discard a card, sacrifice an artifact, a creature, and a land. So you have to actually sacrifice the 3 things if you had them. But then you do get to create Atropal, which is a 4/4 black horror with Death Touch. So, do it early enough, and it's a big creature. And since it has Death Touch, that's really difficult to defend against. And then the last one is Lost Mind of Pandelver, which is actually 4 steps. And the last part is you get to draw a card. So behind the tokens for Tomb of Annihilation, you get the Atropal. And for the other 2, so the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, the token for the skeleton is in the Pandelver dungeon, and for the Lost Mind of Pandelver, the token that you'll create, the goblin, is in the other dungeon. Alright, and there is a bit of literature that you can see here, Xanatar's Guide to Dungeons. Okay, so let's crack our packs and see what we get. So you do get 6 packs when you get one of your kits, and you're supposed to build a 60 card deck minimum. 40 card deck minimum, I mean. So Great Axe, Mordenkainen's Polymorph, Hobgoblin Captain, Sepulchre Ghoul, Hill Giant, Hedgegorger, Herdgorger, Devoted Paladin, Find the Villain's Lair, Arborea, Pegasus, Knoll Hunter, Manticore, Ray of Frost, Ray of Enfeeblement, Bag of Holding. Oh wow! So our first rare mythic is Lolth Extended Art, Spider Queen, 3 black for a legendary planeswalker starting with 4 loyalty. So whenever a creature you control dies, put a loyalty counter on Lolth. For 0, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. For -3, you create 2/1 black spider creature tokens with Menace and Reach. And for -8, you get an emblem with whenever an opponent's dealt combat damage by 1 or more creatures you control, if that player lost less than 8 life this turn, they lose equal to the difference. So, wow. It's pretty strong. I've come up against a deck using Lolth in Arena, in sealed, and it is a very strong card in limited. Oh, sorry, let's play around a bit. So this is a Monkey King, and I'm hoping that maybe if I get enough monkeys, that Ragavan will eventually show up for me. So we get a treasure token, and I like that the basic lands have some flavor text to them. So like if you're waiting for your opponent's turn or something when you're playing, you can read the flavor text. It's pretty interesting. All right, wait, let's do that. Okay, next pack. You get the Atropol token with the Tomb of Annihilation, Goblin Javelineer, Eyes of the Beholder, Scaled Herbalist, Ranger's Hawk, Clever Conjurer, Hoarding Ogre, Shambling Ghast, Air Cult Elemental, Underdark Basilisk, Jaded Sellsword, the Red Dragon. So there is a cycle of these uncommon dragons, one for each color. They are a bit more expensive than your typical rare or mythic dragons, but they are still pretty strong and sealed. I'm excited for the full art version, so it's something that I'm probably going to want to collect once the set comes out. Then we get our Gretchen Titch Hollow. It's a green and a blue for a 0/4 Halfling Druid. With 2 green, blue, draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So it's a bit like Tatiova, except the ability is activated. And then we have Colleen, Reclusive Painter, black and a red for a 1/2 human elf bard. So when Colleen, Reclusive Painter enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on them for each mana from a treasure spent to cast them. So I think it's pretty strong if you play it in your red-black decks. It does, you know, because of the 2 colors do have a treasure sub-theme, so it is going to be pretty useful in that deck, in that color combination. So our rare for this pack is Ranger Class, a 1 in the green. When Ranger Class enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. So I think like for that mana cost, it's already worth the price for admission. Anyway, it's a bear. And then you can level it up. So if you level up by 1 in the green, whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. So on the next turn when you attack your bear, it becomes a 3/3. So that's pretty good. Then for 3 in the green, you may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. So that's a good ability. You get to sort of filter your deck, so it's almost like you get to draw extra cards also if you're able to cast the creature cards from the top of your deck. You know, if it's a couple of successive creatures, then it's like you draw a couple of cards per turn. Next pack. Kick down the door, Swarming Goblins, Devour Intellect, Find Path, Mace, +2 Mace, Mordekainen's Polymorph, Hobgoblin Captain, Pixie Guide, Neverwinter Dryad, Check for Traps, Battle Cry Goblin, Power of Persuasion. Oh, nice. And we do get the showcase version for Treasure Vault. So they do look like the, I guess, the rule books or the modules for the original Dungeons and Dragons. Yep. I will be keeping this. Happy to pull that. And then we have a foil Veteran Dungeoneer. A basic land and a wolf token. 4th pack. So Spike Pit Trap, Price of Loyalty, Precipitous Drop, Scaled Herbalist, Ranger Hawk, Clever Conjurer, Hoarding Ogre, Baleful Beholder, Minimus Containment, Boulette, Moon Blessed Cleric, Feywild Trickster, Lightfoot Rogue, and for our rare, it's Cave of the Frost Dragon. So it's if you control 2 or more lands, other lands, it enters the battlefield tapped. But if you get it early enough, it is untapped. You can tap to add for white, or you can pay 4 and a white. And Cave of the Frost Dragon becomes a 3/4 white dragon creature flying until end of turn. It's still a land. Okay, that's pretty good. And then our token and our basic. So creatures for this set, if you're drafting creatures with power of 2 or less, they are easier to kill because we have a couple of spells for red that do deal with a toughness 2 or less. But then if they're 3 or 4 toughness, well, 4 toughness is very difficult to get rid of. But 3 toughness, there are some cards that can. So, Planar Ally next, Bar the Gate. Oh, I'm supposed to. Right, there we go. Bar the Gate, Brazen Dwarf, Fate's Reversal, Circle of the Moon Druid, Clattering Skeletons, Air Cult Elemental, Displacer Beast, and then we have our Black Dragon, Cloister Gargoyle. Our second mythic for this PR kit is Deck of Many Things, and then our basic planes, and then our last pack. Boots of Speed, Plummet, Sepulchre Ghoul, Hill Giant, Hedgegorger, Devoted Paladin, You Find the Villain's Lair, Price of Loyalty, Precipitous Drop, Genie, Windseer, Grim Bounty, Demogorgon's Clutches, Choose Your Weapon, Stricter's Talisman, and our rare is Eye of Vecna. So Eye of Vecna, when the Eye of Vecna enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 2 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2. If you do, you draw a card and you lose 2 life. Basic planes and our token. There are most of the removal for this set comes, basic common removal comes in black or red. So you have this Grim's Bounty, which destroys target creature or planeswalker, and then you create a treasure token for 2 black. We do have Precipitous Drop, so it is a -2/-2, but if you've completed a dungeon, it's -5/-5. It's good if you have a lot of venturing in your deck, and then you try to complete the shorter dungeons to get the most out of the cards. And of course, some of the other cards do get, if when like Black Dragon enters the battlefield, you can give a creature -3/-3. And then there are a couple of Death Toucher cards, or cards with Death Touch in black. Shambling Ghast, when it dies, it can give an opponent's creature -1/-1. You do have Eyes of the Beholder that gives a target creature -11/-11. However, it is 4 and black to cast. Ray of Enfeeblement is a good card for sideboard mostly, but I sometimes use it main deck for sealed or draft, depending on how much removal you have. So it gives a target creature -4/-1, but if the creature is white, it gives them -4/-4. Manticore, if it has flash, so you can, when it enters the battlefield, you can destroy a target creature an opponent controls that has been dealt damage that turn. Right, and for red, Price of Loyalty is a good combo card for something like Sepulchre Ghoul, because you steal your opponent's creature, you attack with that creature, and then at the end of turn you sacrifice it to your ghoul. And it becomes sort of a removal for you if you're light on other types of removal. Yeah, I didn't get any. I didn't seem to have gotten any of the red removal for the set, but there is one where it deals 2 damage to any target, and then you get to create a treasure token. There is one where if you have a dragon, then it deals the power of the dragon if you show it or it's in play. Otherwise, you deal 3 damage to a target creature or planeswalker. Then you have the one that deals 5 damage to a target creature or planeswalker, and then you roll a dice. And then depending on the result, you either deal damage to yourself and the opponent, or you only deal damage to your opponent. So there is a good number of removal for this set. Some sets have minimum removal, but this set has a good amount of removal. This is sort of removal because it's a counter spell for creatures or planeswalkers only, and then you get to venture into the dungeon. Blue has this Ray of Frost, which you enchant a creature for 1 in the blue, and then if it's red, you tap it, and then it doesn't untap. You also have another one for 1 blue, and it does tap that creature. It loses the abilities and stuff like that. For white, we have this Minimus Containment. It enchants a non-land permanent, so it doesn't only target creatures, and the enchanted permanent loses all its abilities and becomes a treasure token. So the opponent can use the treasure for something, but then you sort of eliminate a bigger threat on the opponent's side. And then you also have the Portable Hole, which can only target a permanent with 2 mana value or less, but then that's your basic removal. And then you also have this, your Spike Pit Trap, which has flash, costs 1, but costs 5 to tap and activate. And then you have to sacrifice your Pit Trap, and it basically deals 5 damage to a creature, and depending on what you roll, then you might be able to create a treasure token also. Okay, so, thanks for watching. This is our little preview of sort of, what you would do when you're playing your Adventures in the Forgotten Realms at your local game store, maybe even online on Arena. Please, like, subscribe if you like our content. Write a comment below if you have any suggestions on what you would want us to do for the channel. So thanks again for watching. Bye.